Here is also, hope you can see my presentation. So thanks to everybody for inviting me. It's always super nice and super interesting. I'm very much interested in questions about public space, in particular about the relationship with creativity. Actually, my research theme is about how creativity shapes and reshapes our daily lives, and in particular public space. Just a biographical note, which a biographical interlude, because in some senses it illuminates what I'm trying to say. So the people that are here with me, I've met them mostly, even some of them today, but virtually. But we're deeply connected in ways that are surprisingly intertwined with material public space. I did my PhD in Philadelphia, and actually I wrote my dissertation on public art. And everything started because the city of Philadelphia, as Jay was saying, offers all of these opportunities in public spaces. I spent most of my doctoral years at the Kimmel Center listening to the orchestra. And with Manfredo, actually, we got a little also in touch because our common and shared interest in public space. And Jena actually, Jena Young from the Plastic Fantastic is participating in our project, which is a digital and material exhibition that will take place in, well, first on WeChat and then in different cities across the globe, that is called Liu, which in Chinese means six and finding meaning. But even enough for these, but it's interesting to see how the digital space, again, I've never met many of these people live, is extended, mediated, and reshaped through digital space. So my interest here is to talk about how digital space and everyday creativity will merge or could merge in the future. So the idea is that what I usually talk about as a philosopher is something that has a reformative aspect into it. In the sense, I'm not interested in describing how the world is, but I'm interested in envisioning how the world should be, in order to make it, well, supposedly a better place, or a place where we would like to live, more, and we could live actually more happily. Now, my reflection on everyday creativity actually started right after about the relationship between the pandemic and everyday creativity. Basically, right after the lockdown, because of course I saw multiplied efforts to be creative in ways that usually we're not. Because, well, I think that as for public space, I think we were deprived of everyday creativity in public space way before we realized it. Public space was not accessible in the ways in which we're dreaming right now. There are endless cases of limitations of uses of public spaces. And some of the individuals that are the most persecuted across the globe are graffiti writers who do nothing more than expressing themselves creatively in public spaces. Now, again, you might agree or disagree about the fact that somebody paints a train. But if you think about the kind of punishments and sentences that they get, you get a sense of how much they are, how they are disproportionate. So one of the things I was interested in is to see this kind of multiplying of the use of many technologies in order to becoming and sharing creativity in the everyday. So one of the cases I talked about is relates to this violinist who's actually a professional violinist player from the Rai Orchestra, Aldo Cicchini, who during a balcony performance was recorded by a Chinese neighbor because he lived in Milan, in the Chinatown of Milan. This woman shared in a Weibo, which is basically the Twitter or Facebook of China, and it became viral. Now, this actually unleashed creativity because people didn't actually stop in listening to the piece that Cicchini was playing. Basically, they also added their own performances. Through the use of technology, they embedded the videos and they produce basically an ever-growing artwork that again has this capacity of mixing, as I want to say in this last part, in this last few minutes, mixing the digital and the material. And I think that the future of cultural production has to be in between the virtual and the material space. We have had these ways of understanding digital space, virtual space, especially in terms of cultural production, as a surrogate space, as something you get if you don't get the real thing. It's something that it's either the virtual experience of the Louvre, the photo collections of the History Museum in Athens, or a video game. Now, for different reasons, I think that there are terrible limitations to all of these experiences. There are experiences that need not be meaningless, but they are not suitable for cultural production, at least in a diverse way that could serve the needs and the desires and the interests of most of us. So what I'm interested in is how actually the virtual can have an effect on the material space and vice versa, in the sense that what we have to envision, what we have to look for, are possibilities of having digital production that then has a material effect, and the other way around. Now here you see the example of Neo that actually is capable of interacting in the real space and the material space. But that's just a reference to popular culture piece. And here is one of the examples. This is Soko 19, work by Bianco Schock and Roland. So Bianco Schock is a public artist. He's in the circuit of urban art, and he has created this piece that is largely, that is virtual, in the sense that it actually is a website. What you do is you take a selfie, as you can see, you write something, and what you have written enters into the code that produces your image, and it basically reframes and it modifies the picture in ways where you see that where you are, what you write gets transferred in the material space. It's seen by somebody else, and also the idea is that is going to part also of our exhibition is going to transform it into a book. That is one of the possibilities, which I find fascinating, because if I can close with one slogan or motto, is that we have to stop thinking about the digital space as separated from the material space. Thank you very much.